Kid LAROI never came back. Let's talk about it. How y'all doing? Welcome to Let's Talk About It Music Reviews Season 12. How y'all doing? Welcome to the show. We're continuing the coverage of the new Kid LAROI album before I forget. And actually, this is the last track review that we're doing for this week on this album. I was really thinking, what am I going to review? What's going to be the final, little track review that we're going to do tonight? And honestly, I think we're going to do this song because, my listening experience, going through listening to the album here, going to the listening to the album there, and there, all these things. I think this track right here really just keeps me coming back, whether that's the vocals, whether that's the instrumental, there's all these different factors that really just come in handy for me when I'm listening to songs. And I think this song right here is pretty fucking fire. So let's just get into it. The Kid LAROI never came back. Let's talk about it. Now, starting off, let's get into the instrumental. Now, this is kind of like, when I reviewed all the way back last year. It was around like the February time. Tate McRae dropped a whole new album. And I remember I checked out, I think it was called like Dear God. Alright, that's what the track was called. And it kind of, had this same kind of feel, the guitar instrumental feel, etc. And I know there's like a whole behind the scenes breakup thing, but I might as well just relay it back to something that I've reviewed on this show before. I will be honest with you, I think this is how you do it better. When you do the guitar instrumental, or like Taylor Swift, Taylor Swift does this type of sound. And I think honestly this is, how you can really just take this and actually elevate it. So let's get into it. I really like the guitar instrumental here. It's pretty simple. It's nothing too groundbreaking or nothing too crazy. But I think it gets the job done. And overall, I don't think it's bad at all. Now, what I think that, this instrumental could use maybe is some really nice switch-ups. Or maybe, add like a beat on here. But, I get it. It's kind of that acoustic kind of instrumental pop vibe. So you don't want to add too much on it. So I definitely do get that. But, my usual sound is that I like a little bit more of my beats. Also, what I do enjoy from this song is all the different vocal switch-ups. Now, the instrumental is nothing crazy. It stays the same. But I like how, each, second, there's something to this song, whether that's, I like how, this song has so many different vocal switch-ups, starting off with the beginning verse. I really like that beginning verse. All the different vocal switch-ups sound really nice. And the fact, too, what I also enjoy is that each time, the song goes on, there's a vocal switch up here, there's a vocal switch up here, as the hook goes on, there's a little bit more to the hook. Now, I think this song is a little too simple. I think if it had, maybe a vocal switch up on the hook, in the second variation of the hook, you have to wait. You really have to wait until you get deep into the song. So that's my only real complaint. But if that's all the complaining that I have about a song, the guitar instrumental is a little bit the same, and you do have to wait until you're deep into the hook to really get some meaningful, really good switch ups. Honestly, that just says more about the song, because the two verses are really nice. I like the flow. I like how he's really flowing on here. I like how the drums are not that very very on here, but you have the fact that you're having a really nice flow switch up, and have all these different flow switches. It just adds so much to the track, really makes it stand out, in my opinion. So overall, when we talk about the song, the Kid LAROI never came back, you start out with a really nice guitar instrumental, just really adding to the fucking vibes. And then you have a really nice couple of verses, and which I really do enjoy. I think those verses sound really fucking good. And also, I really like the fact, too, that, you have a switch up on the hook. That final rendition of the hook is so beautiful to listen to, adds so much to the song. So I overall really enjoy that, too. So, hey, overall, when we talk about this song, the Kid LAROI never came back. This is probably one of my more top tracks off of this album, probably my more favorite track off this album. So I'd probably give this song an easy 8 out of 10. So 8 out of 10, what y'all think about it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? I don't know, let me know. If you're on YouTube, Spotify, Pandora, wherever you get your podcast at, make sure you follow, turn on notifications, guys. this is a little bit of a short episode. You know, this week has not been very content heavy, but don't worry guys, this is the final episode of the Kid LAROI, talking about all the singles. We're actually going to be talking about the whole entire album. I've been really holding my thoughts in, really trying to hold my thoughts in for this whole entire album, but we're going to finally let them out right on, Wednesday night. So get ready for that. We got an album review Wednesday night. I've had such a good time, listening to this album over and over and over again. And thank y'all so much for listening to this podcast episode. It means a lot to me. It means a lot you're checking out the guy. It means a lot y'all are checking out this show. And I'll see y'all later. You have a good one. And also, hey, we will be having some variety content. I'm thinking, what should we do? Honestly, I'm thinking about maybe covering, a game, playing some, older game or something like that and doing, a little bit of a look back, kind of a nostalgic view of, going back in time. So when there's no content, we can, talk about something like that. Overall, had a pretty great time listening to this album, and we got a whole album review coming out on Wednesday. It's probably the first album review of 2026. We might as well start it off with the Kid LAROI. Hey guys, I will see y'all later. You have a good one. Yeah.